Well, hello there everybody, and welcome back to another episode of An Ecologist Plays, a channel where I get to talk about nature while playing games. We are back in Subnautica below zero, and currently we are below the water and above the water because we can be. And look at this is just amazing, all this scattering of the light. Now, we are heading directly east, past this Cryptosuchus over here, this hidden crocodile with its weird mandibles, and we're heading directly east towards Marguerite made us greenhouse, because she will be 1 kilometer to the east of the Delta base that we were at last time. So let's go and find her, shall we? Alright, now we should be quite close. She should be on one of these ice floes at the top here, one of these icebergs, but we are in an area with these glow whales that are really just such gorgeous creatures. Now there's probably a very high abundance of phytoplankton in the water over here, which these little guys will be feeding on. I say little, they're definitely not little, but opening up their mouths very widely to, of course, get in as much of that phytoplankton or krill or whatever they are feeding on as they can get. Now, interesting on Earth, of course, are baleen whales. They would have baleen, that hair-like structure in their mouths, to actually gulp in as much water and food as possible, and then they just expel the water out, filtering out the food, and then just swallow that. The glow whales seem to not have that, but not sure how on Earth they actually extract the food from the water, but yeah, they somehow have to be able to do this. Now, we're a little bit too far. I think this iceberg over here is actually the one that will have Marguerite and her nursery on it. So let's just quickly have a look. We're about 1 kilometer, just a little bit more than 1 kilometer away from Delta base. Let's quickly have a look up on this iceberg. Unfortunately, difficult to see because of the dangerous weather that is occurring at the moment. No, I thought I saw something up here, but it's probably not the correct iceberg. Or maybe it is. Okay, we'll come back in a moment. Okay, we may have accidentally actually found a good spot to come with Alan. Let's just first get in the water. Let's heat up. It's so strange to think that we're heating up by actually getting into the water, but the water has a relatively constant temperature. The air temperature can fluctuate due to the storm that is here at the moment. Yeah, it is still quite stormy. We'll just wait for the storm to pass a bit. Let's just quickly scan this artifact.
Hypothermia imminent.
Yep, hypothermia is indeed imminent. Now, the thing with hypothermia is your thermoregulation kind of shuts down, and you, for some reason, start thinking that you are, in fact, very, very hot. And then you start taking off your clothes, which is the worst thing to do. And I did not want my character over here to decide, you know what, I'm going to just start taking off my clothes. So, yeah, we're just going to continue looking for the correct iceberg. Okay, it took me way too long, but I had to wait for daytime, but I think we found it. That looks like a big structure up there. That could be Marguerite's greenhouse. So let's just quickly pull up here on the left. I think we should be able to get on over here. Yeah, looks like it. Oh, that's marvelous. Yay, we made it. Marguerite, we're coming. Ooh, a frost vase plant. This looks quite cool. Let's not get too distracted here by the local fauna and flora. We are, however, going to just pick up some of these fevered peppers to eat, because we are in dire need of water. Aha, but I do believe this is her greenhouse. Yay. Hello, Marguerite. Oh, wow. This is gorgeous.
Damn satellite hasn't passed by in a while. I guess that was your doing.
Yes, it was.
Sam's not the only one in the family who knew what to do with vague directions in Old Wire.
She was an original, that sister of yours. First time I met her, I was sure she was Altera through and through. Not a crease in her uniform. Sending those damn bird bots to spy everywhere. Then, she surprised me. Maybe a little too much.
Meaning?
If you really want to know, there's a PDA on the bench that can point you in the right direction. If you need anything else, don't bother me. But you can help yourself to the greenhouse. Least I can do to repay you for getting those spine pests off my back.
Wonderful. Thanks, Marguerite. I believe this plant we can only get in the greenhouse here. Preston's plant. And we are obviously going to be harvesting some of the fruit here, so we can go plant that at our base. And because we can, we're also just going to scan for the wall planter here, as well as the plant shelf. And of course we're going to grab the Chinese potato plant here as well, and the marble melon, because yes, very, very important to start growing that at our base as well. And of course the indoor grow bed, because why not? Okay, Marguerite, there are 2 PDAs here. Let's look at the first one.
I've already synthesized an antidote and stashed it in a cave. I can go grab it and...
That's your plan?
You don't think it'll work?
You're thinking too small. Like maybe if you're polite enough about destroying the bacteria, Altera will come around and see it your way. But do you believe in yourself or not?
I think so.
You think so? Come on. Is the bacteria a threat, or isn't it?
It is.
Does it need to be dealt with or not?
It does.
So who's right on this?
I am.
Say it like you mean it.
I am.
I said like you mean it, not like you're testifying before a rigged transgov court.
I am.
Great. Then what you gotta do is seal off the whole cave. I've got just the stuff. Made it for fishing, but it blew the whole ice shelf halfway to deep space. Vaporized all the fish.
Okay.
And you gotta hit the lab too, or there's just no point. Actually, you know what? Let me take care of that one. It'll be fun.
Okay, so that's interesting interaction there between them. Let's have a look at this PDA.
All right, Marge, old girl. We hate this greenhouse. So here are some pointers to remember so we never have to do the worst parts again. Too bad you can't fight malnutrition by hunting it down and killing it. So, first thing, insulation. First few nights the soil was rock solid. Ended up having to insulate the damn place with dehydrated kelp. Adding a thermal mass helped too. Heat from barrels of water. Probably should have just eaten the damned kelp. But nope, my body was craving a salad. Wish I was just made of exosuit. Next, grow lights were a must-have. Gotta admit, I felt pretty proud of my first full crop of lettuce. Fed half of it to Preston. That snowstalker will eat practically anything. Always spits half of it out, though. Another thing we have in common. The slobbery green mess makes good compost.
Okay, so interesting bit about setting up a greenhouse. Of course, setting up a greenhouse in a frozen wasteland is a very, very challenging thing to do, but essential if you want to actually grow any plants whatsoever. Because very, very, very few plants. I'm actually surprised that there are so many plants growing on the ice shelves in the game here, because very, very few plants will actually grow in permanently frozen soil. If you're looking at Antarctica, for example, there are only 2 species of flowering plants growing on the indigenous to the entire continent of Antarctica. And there are a few mosses and stuff like that as well, smaller little plants, non-vascular plants, but very, very few flowering plants actually growing there. Simply because few plants can grow if the soil is actually frozen. I'm just going to go back to Marguerite's base down here, the sea base, just so I can actually scan the large room, because I realized I don't have that blueprint yet. Okay, here we are. Now I suspect, now that Marguerite and Preston, her snowstalker, are up at the nursery, we should be able to come past here. And into that second room. No, they've beaten us here. Hello, Marguerite. Let's just scan you while we are
Look
here.
all you want. There's more to Marguerite than any damn fangled gadget can see.
That's a funny interaction. Okay, we can actually come past here into her room now. Let's see, what can we learn from you, Marguerite? A small stove. Oh, bunch of hot sauces, it seems. I don't think I've actually ever been in this section of her base, her sea base. But here we've got some bulbo plants from the first Subnautica game as well as a lantern fruit. Oh wow, I wonder whether this lantern fruit can actually, bear fruit. Would love to have that in the game here. Of course, things like the Gorgo, I think the Gorgo toy over here as well. A little bit of a throwback to the first Subnautica, as well as Natural Selection, another game made by the same developers. So there's a nice little toy there as well. And then we've got another PDA over here as well.
A fortnight into our voyage, I was more or less living inside the creature's ribcage. It meant shelter, and it meant food. The flesh was starting to rot. The stench was unlike anything I'd ever smelled. As we floated, the temperature dropped, and the rotten meat began to stiffen and freeze. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the Reaper began to lose buoyancy. We sank a little each day. My sanctuary was becoming my tomb, and I was at the mercy of the current and the winds. Until one day, I saw a smattering of penguins in the distance. Swimming birds usually mean solid land of some kind. I was lucky. The winds followed their path. Hours later, I saw a blessed sight. An unmoving cloud sitting upon the water. Land. It renewed my spirit as I watched the land get closer and closer. The Reaper slowly sank, but I was no longer worried. When the Reaper finally sank below the water, I was close enough to lazily swim my way to shore. I made a note to come back for the Reaper skull. I didn't ride the beast for 3 weeks to have no proof. Land never felt so good, even in this Arctic hell.
Alright, so Marguerite, we have finally found her. We have finally looked at her greenhouse as well. We are being chased by... it's a squid shark, of course, using its mouth to actually engulf its prey. That's cool. And there are some Cryptosuchus here as well. We're going to just head back to our base, I believe. We are going to be setting up another base as well, somewhere around the thermal vents in this general area. Now there is, somewhere I know there is a Chelicerath, the first big Leviathan we can encounter. I'm not sure where that is. But this looks like a nice little spot to actually set up a base as well. So I'm going to just drop a beacon down here and just call it Doma Nova, which means new home. So this is where we will be heading to set up a new base. Now there are quite a few Cryptosuchus in the area, and they sound so dangerous, but apparently they are not that dangerous. Let's just go swim with one over here. I say not so dangerous. They will try to attack me, but we will be able to outswim it. Oh, apparently I have already scanned it. Okay, I said I was going to be able to outswim it, but I can't. Okay, we're going to go back to our sea truck. But if we go into our databank over here, and just quickly look at the Cryptosuchus here, I mean, that is a very, very interesting big old creature. As mentioned before, kind of resembling a crocodile, hence Suchus, which refers to crocodile, Crypto referring to hidden. But it's got a very big head with 4 very nice mandibles in the front there. But interesting, the bony plates here appear to be quite thin, it says here. So the plates are for defense. They're not that strong, I guess. So they also help with heat absorption among the thermal vents. And that is the reason why these creatures are around the thermal vents. They are most likely cold-blooded. And because they are cold-blooded or ectothermic, it means they're getting their energy from the surrounding water, and they're therefore found in warmer water that is warm enough for them to actually be active. So things like lizards, for example, and most fish, of course, as well, are all ectothermic. Their body temperature is affected by the surrounding water or air, whereas we as humans are, of course, endothermic, meaning warm-blooded. We generate our own body heat. We're not as reliant on the surrounding air or water for our body temperature. Now we are back at our base here, and because we now have this sea truck docking module over here, docking bay, we can just zoom in here, just slowly but surely drive in. The contraption in the front there has gotten ready to actually catch us, and voila. We go in, and as we go in, the water level also drops, and we can then actually go into our base. And whenever we want to go back outside, we can just come and pilot the sea truck over here. Alright, now I've made some plasteel ingots because we are going to just expand our base a little bit here by having a nice big large room, and there we go. Wonderful. Our hull strength is not that great at the moment, but that's alright. We are actually right at the surface, so it's not too bad. But we are going to just put up some extra solar panels at the top here, because we need it. Alrighty, we've got 4 extra solar panels set up on this large room here, which is marvelous. That means we should be able to generate enough power to keep our sea truck charged. Yeah, we are really generating quite a bit of power here. Marvelous. Of course, one of the most important things to get is one of these big old grow beds. And now we've got our 3 Preston's plants growing in there as well. But 1 indoor grow bed is not enough, so we have a second one, and we have 3 more of these little plant pots as well. And we are just going to plant our marble melons in here. After scanning it, of course. And harvesting the seeds. Marvelous. Well, or should I say, marvelous. And for our scanner room here, we're just going to quickly make 3 of the range upgrades. And 1 of the speed upgrades, so that we can search for things a little bit faster, but also can scan for them from further away. And oh wow, okay, now the scanner room map has also actually increased in size. But I think here, as we have started building our little greenhouse as well, this is probably a good spot to end today's episode. So thank you very much everyone for joining me on our little adventure. Nick and I will be back on Sunday for another live stream of Grounded again. And then I'll be back next Tuesday for another An Ecologist Plays Subnautica Below Zero. So if you've got any suggestions for what I should be doing next, please do drop it down in the comments below. And until next time everybody, stay safe. I'll see you all soon. Bye!